Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the GNOME Train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
So I'm Frazzle, and I am joined by Sai of Scrubs vs. the World. Hello. As well as the return of my friend Matt. Good to have you back, Matt.
Good evening.
So on this episode, we will get to know Sai. Then we will delve into the huge news regarding Classic, the 15th anniversary in-game rewards, the collector's edition, and more. But before we do all that, Epic and Sandy, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently? We will start with Sai.
Well, right now, baseball is life.
Nice.
I coach my son's baseball team. He's 10. It's a grind. So I not only do I coach his baseball team, I also help the league with umpiring. So I basically do baseball like 6 days a week at times.
That's cool.
No, it's great. Like, it's good. Our community is awesome. It's fun to get out there, mess with the kids a little bit, and they love it. So trying to teach them the love of the game. I know baseball is kind of one of the slower sports, especially for the kiddos. We have a lot of fun, and that's the name of the game right there. So because of that, I haven't been able to really play much WoW, unfortunately. Finally got my wife resub, though, so that's good.
Nice.
She's getting ready for Classic. But, yeah, and I also have to edit my next podcast, which is coming out Tuesday. I have to finish that up. But yeah, other than that, just getting my farmer tan on and having fun.
Nice. I can't tan. It's my pigment and stuff like that. And I definitely know the editing grind. It's fun. It's always fun when it's done. But you get into the project, you're like, I got to get this done. And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time, though. Like, it's been a great hobby for me, so I'm enjoying it.
It's always my introverted time. It helps me refresh. And it's fun, like, to meet people. Like, I did not even realize I had a friend in real life, like physical life, like that also plays WoW. And because of this podcast, now whenever we get together, we talk about WoW, and it's always fun. Is that their wife is always like, okay, like explaining things, like it's a fun time. So hey, Matt, so what have you been up to?
Well, it's been kind of crazy. Gotten to play WoW a little bit, here and there, maybe an hour a night, maybe if I'm lucky. Been trying to play and work on my Blood Elf, trying to catch up on the Horde side, get the mounts, and then obviously finally get the Heritage armor for my Blood Elf, because he was my original main. But that's been the minimal part of my time. It's been pretty busy this week, trying to keep up. We bought a house last fall, so keeping up with that. And then,
congrats! That's awesome.
Thank you. And actually, we did get a chance to go see a movie. Saw the new Tolkien movie last Friday, and that was good. It was nice insight into his life. And otherwise, I'm mostly getting stuck at work, come home, try to make things work at home, and then hopefully get to sit down and relax and play WoW for a little bit and keep up on the news.
Nice. And I see that you watched the new cinematic of Safe Haven.
Yes, I watched that the other night, and that's going to be interesting implications for the game and a lot of the canon and everything is going to be going on the rest of the expansion.
I thought it was just like amazing. And it's one of those, like, I don't want to I want people who are watching this. It's not a leak because it's cinematic and it's for 8.2. You got to go watch it. It is just great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Big things are going to happen for both sides, actually. Mainly the Horde, but it's going to affect the Alliance quite a bit too, because it's going to be a big shift in power.
Yeah.
And then for Tolkien, so is that a movie about his life?
Yes. So it basically just recaps like him growing up and through his experiences with friends in school, and then him actually going to World War I. And it gets really just allows you to see how it shaped his writing of the books. The interesting part is they don't actually even get into his writing of the books till the very end of the movie. So it's very much just focused on his life. They don't focus on the characters or the lore or anything that he comes up with. It's mainly focused on the creative mind that he had even before he started becoming a writer, as he grew up and had different experiences with friends. And then the biggest one is then what happened with World War I and his experience there. As you watch it, as anyone that's read the book, seen the movies, or both, you very much start looking at areas where you're like, oh, that's why he wrote that when you're watching it.
That's really cool. I always love seeing what goes behind a work, like what people bring to whatever they're making.
Yeah, it was good. Now, if you're going to expect anything about the actual books and movies, you'll be very disappointed because that's not the point of it. It is very much based on, I don't know if it was a autobiography or a biography, but it's very much based on his actual life and not any of the lore or anything.
Well, and with how vast the lore is, I could almost see them either being afraid of getting something wrong, or like somebody gets afraid that they don't cover this one part of the lore. Like, yeah, we're just going to put the lore there. He made the book, but here's why.
Yeah. No, it was good though, but it was very much, it gives you a strong basis for where the lore came from and what the influences on it. So it was good. Now, if it's something where if you just want to go see a movie, go see it. You don't necessarily have to see it in theaters. I think it's going to be just fine on DVD. If you're just looking for a movie to go see, it is good though. It's entertaining.
Nice. It's uplifting too, right?
Yeah, because he went through a lot. Unless you've actually read about Tolkien, you don't realize everything he went through before he became the writer of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. His life was very difficult through that, and they really show you and illustrate what made him into the person he was, who became that writer.
I saw a movie a couple years ago about Charles Dickens, and it was cool to kind of see what was behind. So I'm definitely going to check out Tolkien. And watching that movie would be good with like a burger and fries. And this week I tried to order an Impossible Burger. So I've been hearing all this stuff. Amanda Sloan has really got to me excited about going vegan and trying to like cut out, because I eat enough meat in different places. I was like, you know what, I'll cut out beef here and there, because too much beef, too much of anything can be bad. And so I tried to find one, and I had the Burger King app, and I was all ready for fries. Found out that the Impossible Burger is only in a few cities. So I got a veggie burger, and they routed the veggie burger, but they have a thing called a veggie Whopper. So it's a kind of a meatless Whopper. I don't think I'm going to get another one until the Impossible Burger comes out, because the Impossible Burger is supposed to be more filling and still be plant-based. But the fries, they were so good. I even got a Twix pie. I mean, you gotta have one of those. Yeah, it was so good. And then that same day, I also then finished the game Guard Duty. So Tom of 3 Extra Lives told me about this game. It's a point and click. It's by an indie developer. It's modern, but using like old school mentality and stuff like that, and even some fun nods back to like different old school adventures. Really enjoyed it. Like, you have to travel in time to save the world. So there's like 2 guards you play, and I really enjoyed it. It's not long. I like not long game, because then like you can finish the game and you don't feel like it's stressing any with all the other games that are out there. Same way that I also beat the game Do Not Feed the Monkeys. So you play a person who watches people on cameras answering emails to an unknown club, kind of like you're working jobs and stuff like that, trying to pay your rent and like not starve because you got to feed yourself, drink. There's a lot of replayability, because once you finish it, each time you go back, there are new cameras and new stories, but you look at the camera, figure out what's going on in this one, and you either help the area or you don't, but you write down things. Do you do web searching, saves this whole computer? I enjoyed it. And that one too was not long for the playthrough, but you can fail the game if you die or your landlord gets upset. Like, you probably be kicked out. So thank you to Tom again for that one.
That sounds like a cool one.
I don't know. That sounds a lot like work.
Yeah, I think
I kind of do that at work every day. Try to keep people from hurting themselves and getting things fixed and things like that. I don't know if I want to do that when I got home too.
It is kind of like a life. I mean, it's not quite Job Simulator. I never played the game, but I heard about Job Simulator. But it was like that. And then in WoW, I started my first Iron Man tune. So it was Bragagid, the Gnome Warrior. I called it the Iron Gnome Challenge. It's kind of I've been wanting to do these for a while. Zords, a couple of podcasts back, was like, hey, why don't you start one? Then Allie started one, and I was just like, you know what? Let's do it. So I was on Sunday, I decided I'm going to start the Iron Gnome. It was really good. Had a few close calls here and there. I finally died to spiders at level 19 in Red Ridge Mountain. You know the guard tower?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get swarmed there pretty easy.
Yeah.
I was on my chauffeur, because the mounts are allowed, and I was on my chauffeur, and I died. So Nihar captured a clip of my death, which is hilarious. I've got a link in the show notes, but it is just, if you want me just yelling in like agony, like defeat, that was it. And I was not acting. Well, mostly. I hand up a little bit, but it's on stream. And then I started a dwarf paladin called Huey Lewis. The bad news is I got him to level 21 before he died to an orc rare while working on the quest between Loch Modan and the wetlands.
That'll happen.
So then I started my third tune tonight. It's a dwarf paladin named Dorf, and ZeroLink suggested this, and I found out that actually it's unintentional homage to Tim Conaway's character of Dorf. But he's now level 12. I've registered him with the Iron Challenge because you have to get up to 10 for the armor and stuff to work, and then you register it. I'm going to do Elwyn Forest because I just finished Dunmoreau, and I'm trying to find places that are going to give me good XP, but not be like, I'm staying away right now from wetlands and then also Red Ridge because I'm going to go back to them at some point, but they're scaring me right now.
A lot of mobs packed in tight.
Yes. And like there's a lot of places they can come out of the shadows. There's a lot of brush and stuff like that. I enjoy like Westfall. I beat Westfall. The only area that was hard was the Murlocs because
Well, it's Murlocs.
yes, they're not classic mobs, which is good.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it a lot. It adds challenge to the game because again, you can only go up to common. You have to not get buffs and all that, and you can't be in a group, can't do dungeons. So there's a feeling of if you die, you're dead, and it's painful when you get up to like that level and you're like everything you did gone. But it's fun. I'm gonna keep doing it. One thing I love is I love leveling alts. So this is perfect for me. I can level an alt and then like delete it when I die, start up again. I'm not trying to intentionally delete it because that was not fun. But Sai,
Yeah.
So I don't know if you like leveling alts, but I want to get to kind of know you tonight.
Yeah.
How did you get into gaming?
Well, it started when I was a wee lad. It's about 5 years old-ish. It was in the 80s. I admit that. I remember getting up out of my bed. I had this sweet dinosaur tent bed.
Ooh.
Got out of that. Went out to the living room. Heard my dad swearing. And I was like, what is happening? So I went and looked, and I saw him playing Super Mario 1. And I was like, this is cool. So then he let me play it. Like the next day, of course, because it was my bedtime.
Yeah.
And that first Goomba killed me probably 300 times before I figured it out. But that was the moment video games hooked me.
I remember watching a lot of Super Mario with like my sisters would play it. They played the one, and then they also played World, and they also played 2. They enjoyed Super Mario 2, but they're the ones who got me into gaming because I was as a kid always just enamored watching them, and I got their SNES when they went off to college, so I was like,
oh,
score.
nice. Yeah.
After that, what was your entry into Blizzard and World of Warcraft?
Into Blizzard is actually Warcraft 2. My great aunt played video games. My great aunt was awesome. Unfortunately, she passed a few years ago. I'd go to her house and she's like, hey, I need you to beat this game for me. Help me. I'm stuck. Every time I went and saw her, she had a new game for me to beat. And so Warcraft 2 was one of them. The music and just the characters in that game, I loved it. And that's what hooked me into the Warcraft universe. And then my wife and I, when we first moved out together, we were like 19, I think. We were broke as a joke, but we had friends who had accounts. I'm like, hey, come to this internet cafe. And we have this cool game you guys got to try. So we did the free pass thing. They had a couple of them. I rolled a Night Elf Warrior, not knowing what I was doing. And we were like, this game is amazing. So I had a crappy computer at home. I don't remember the specs on it, but it was not good. And so we scraped and scrimped every extra penny we could to make sure we both had accounts because we both had to have our own people. And we played the crap out of that thing because we'd have nothing else to do because we're, working 2 jobs or whatever. And then in between there, we would play. Wow. It was awesome. It was some of the best times of my life.
Did it help like strengthen your marriage because of like that team building and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was funny. I remember one day I went to work. So I worked swing shift. I used to build ATV winches. I'd go to work at 2 p.m. and come home sometimes at 2 or 3 a.m. Well, it was one of those shifts where I came home at 2 a.m. I said goodbye, have a great day, get home. And she didn't move for the full 12 hours. And she looked at me. She was like, I just soloed Black Fathom Deeps at level. And I was like, what? How did you do that? So we were sitting there and I was trying to figure out what she did. And she spent literally 13 hours trying to solo Black Fathom Deeps with her hunter.
Wow.
And she did it. Like I went and she showed me the corpse and I was like, that is amazing.
If you have enough patience, you could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So what would you say your main play style is like?
Well, my main character now is a healer. So I'm a team guy. So if I'm helping the team in any way, shape, or form, that is what gives me satisfaction in the game. So if I'm number 1, great, but I don't really care about numbers. I just care about getting the boss down. Healer's perfect for me because, I mean, you're helping people ultimately because you're keeping them alive. When I play any game, really, I prefer to play co-op games because I like having that team aspect to it. And it feels better. And when I play by myself, it feels lonely. I don't know. I like having the camaraderie of someone with me when we're going into battle. Yeah,
that's one reason why I love streaming is because it does it keeps me in the game, but also I feel like somebody's there watching. And it's fun to hear people who don't even chat who say that they watched me do this one thing over there. So it's fun to know that somebody at least saw this moment that I experienced.
Yeah.
I was playing one of the games, Guard Duty. I was playing it and I actually started commentating. I wasn't streaming it. And I was like, oh, wait, no one saw that. And are you a LFR, Pug, Raider, Mythics?
So I'm in a guild called the Knights of Chipotle.
Ooh.
And and we're a heroic guild. We're casual though. So we're not like, when we get ahead of the curve, we're not grinding it 40 hours a week trying to, I mean, you don't have to at heroic level, but whoever shows up is who we take. We don't really sit people. We're a big goofy group of people that have fun together and do our thing.
I find that some of the best fun because it's fun to have a little bit less pressure. I mean, I could not be Method. I'm amazed at Method's skill, but I cannot be that.
No, I don't have the time.
I don't have time to raid anymore.
I realized there could be a day where I'm actually raiding Nax Classic, but not right now. But right. It's weird to realize that could be a day.
Soon.
Yes,
yep.
Absolutely.
No, not soon, because it's going to take you the next 8 months to get to the level to raid Nax, but true. Relatively, I suppose it is.
Yeah. Yes. We'll be like your wife and we'll just be like sitting at the computer for like, it's been 5 days and I'm still leveling.
Yeah. No, I'll be in there with you guys. So it'll be fun.
There were days I was in Molten Core and I would say bye to my parents. Like my dad would actually bring up dinner to me. And I'm like, oh, it is now 1:00 in the morning. Oops.
Yeah. I've had many of those nights where you lose track of time and you're like, oh, why is it bright? Oh, the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, and there's an activity that you do that probably doesn't help with like sleep and all that, because once you're recording your podcast, you then have to edit it. So
yeah,
what made you decide to start podcasting?
Well, I've always been really interested in it. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I was a guest on the Ringmaster Kevin's show on the Dark Moon Herald.
Nice.
And I had so much fun. Like I stayed up. I didn't stay up on purpose. I couldn't sleep because I was freaking out. Like, oh my God, I get to go on a podcast of someone I've been listening to for years. And I got to bring my A game. So I slept like 2 hours. I was getting over pneumonia. And I had too much fun. And I was like, I got to do this. This is awesome.
Yeah. I remember I guested on All Things Azeroth for the first time. And once I started it, then like Lita then invited me on Behind the Avatar, and then I was on All Things Azeroth again. I was like, I can't wait for people to invite me to be a guest. I got to do it myself.
Yeah.
Not knowing all the work that'd be involved in it, but hey.
Yeah. No, that part's fun because I also play music on the side just for myself, basically. So it's actually helped me a ton as far as learning how to mix things better. It's making I wrote my theme song myself, did all that stuff all by myself, and just messing around with the program to learn it. So now I got that figured out, and I feel like just every episode's getting hopefully better-ish.
Absolutely. And what's cool about that is Pat Crane writes their own stuff for their show. So that's awesome that they write music.
Yeah. No, I've been playing guitar forever, so I have a good time with that.
So how has your experience been so far in making your podcast?
It's been challenging, but fun, like a good challenge. It's been one of those things where I'm pretty, like when I'm in social settings, you wouldn't know that I am freaking out on the inside with, social stuff. I'm pretty private usually. So it was like putting myself out there was really scary. But I think getting over that has helped me a ton. Not only has it helped me just in life in general, it's made me more assertive. So I coach better. My job's better. Just everything that when I deal with people, the interactions are just better overall. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges as far as just doing it. And also I'm my harshest critic, so that doesn't help. But editing has been brutal at times. You were a guest on my show, episode 2.
Yeah.
Go check it out, folks.
I enjoyed it. I'm biased, but I really liked it.
No, it was fun. I had a blast. And it was funny because my wife helps me edit some, and she's like, what were you guys talking about? I was like, we were just talking. Now we got to figure it out. So it was fun going through and just getting the pain of the first episode coming out with, it was too low. And then the trailer episode I did, the music was too loud in the background. Getting that kind of figured out and dealing with all my own personal demons and making it happen has been really, really rewarding. Life's just better now. Yeah,
I'd have to say that's been some of the best and the worst. I mean, because with podcasting, there's guides, but it's not till you actually do it and you go through all the same problems everybody goes through. Like everybody I know has said they hate their first episode. I mean, I hope you don't hate your first episode but like I know I don't like my first episode. It's just like it makes me cringe.
Well, in my first episode, I forgot to tell my buddy to put headphones on. So,
I've been there.
I would say something, and then 10 seconds later, it's echo of me saying it, and then him responding. I was like, "Oh boy, we didn't think this one through."
Yep. I mean, I've been there. I've had it where I forgot to tell a guest to check their mic, and then they're on their computer speaker mic. I had one. The audio is fine, but the live stream, I was using my computer's onboard mic the whole live stream. Everyone's like,
"Oh no,
you sound so distant." I'm like, "I'm talking right into the mic. How are you so distant?" They're like, "I can barely hear you." Later on, found out that the computer decided to send a switch, so the recording was fine, but just not.
That's awesome.
So, what is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
Pretty much, just relax. Like, just let it flow. Don't worry about if you mispronounce something, don't worry about that. That actually adds a little character to the conversation, makes it feel more alive, if you will. And also just don't over edit. Just listen to it a couple times, then pick your points. Don't get too crazy on that. Because if you go too hard in the paint, as if you will, then it turns into just this robot sounding, we're reading off a script, doesn't sound natural kind of conversation. I think that's been the best so far. And that's really helped me kind of take a step back out of my own head and just really focus on what are the points we want to hit and what are the funny pieces I need to keep. What are those parts where, I might not sound like I'm saying something coherently, but that's a conversation because I might be thinking about something. So just letting it flow has been probably the best thing.
Yeah, I remember in the beginning I didn't edit, and that was for me the wrong way to go. But then I went from no editing to editing every single thing.
Yeah.
And now I look for the easy ums. I'm like, okay, I'll take that out because I can see there. But then the other ones, I'm like, I'll leave them in.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing too. And also my cadence of my speech. Sometimes I'll be talking and then I'll go really long between words.
Same. I've noticed that, especially on my solo shows. I'm like, I'm speaking, but you take, Well, and I'm editing a podcast for an organization, and it's interesting for this organization hearing different speakers and hearing how each of them are there. And I'm trying to also not ruin the feel of it either. Because I'm like,
right.
Maybe the speaker meant to take a pause here, but sometimes I'm like, it's a little too long.
Right.
So podcasting is great, and it's a lot of fun with it. But you know what? Part of the fun of our podcast is we get to talk about Warcraft. One of the biggest things that has happened to us is coming back. They have announced that WoW Classic is going to be releasing on August 27th, and the betas have already started.
Yeah. I'm not in it, though.
Me either. Are you in it, Matt?
No. I've never been able to play enough the last month or two. They would never have selected me, but I wouldn't necessarily be a good candidate because I get too distracted going, I remember when it used to look like this. Back when I started in BC, because when I came back in Cataclysm, they destroyed the land. I'm like, but I like this place. And then I had to get used to it. And then they gave me flying, and then that sped things up. So it wasn't as bad.
I got a cool email from Alessander about their impressions of seeing Classic. And they made a cool point that I really liked. They said, it's interesting. If you look at the pre-Cata, it's kind of peaceful. I mean, there's stuff happening, but it's kind of fine. Then Cata, everything's destruction and doom everywhere. I'm like, I kind of see it because if you, in vanilla, it's been years since battle, but the drums of war echoed once again. So you start seeing the hints of it. But yeah, it's still kind of nice, just kind of sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the time roll. So yeah, I didn't get into beta because I'm with you, Matt. I don't have enough time to do the beta. I got into the BFA beta and I did not play it big enough. So I know that Blizzard's looking at like, we have him beta and he didn't even play it. So I'm like, I know there are people that are fanatic about Classic. And I think that's awesome. So I said, because of the limited things for closed beta, I'm going to give them the slot. I want people who are actually going to play it and like count on the Classic. They got a key. I'm like, that was one of the ones I was hoping we'd get a key. People that are excited for this, people that can get the hype up for this, people that can find all the small things. Cause like they went to 100 episodes about all the things for Classic. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I hope my wife gets one because she has very strong opinions about Battle for Azeroth in the negative.
That's good. It's going into a beta like that, they'll be able to bring their side of it, find the things from it. It's interesting. August 27th, we'll be able to play Classic. It's going to be on the same sub. Just $15 a month gets you access to Legion and below and Classic.
Yeah, very exciting. I can't wait.
I still remember having the base game, buy all the expansions, buy all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I've probably done that like 4 times in my WoW career.
I bought multiple copies of WoW for the Refer a Friend, which is going away. I have all the current items, so I'm going to have to actually probably make another Battle.net account so I can refer myself if I can't find more friends. So are both of you going to head back into Classic?
Yeah, I'm going to play both. I'm not leaving my raid team, but I will be playing Classic casually. I just want to see the differences. Like, I've been wanting Classic. Like, I can go put Super Mario 1 in my NES that I still have. Yeah, see, Matt's got it ready to go.
Oh, Matt's got the board.
This was the original one I bought.
That's awesome.
Back in the day. Booklets and everything still in here. I found it at my parents' about a month ago.
Nice.
And it's just been sitting there. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is cool. It's got all the stuff that I'm reading through going, they changed all this. None of this is applicable anymore. The maps aren't right. The characters, they changed them. Some of the lore, I think, even changed it. But it was really cool to find it because that was the first one I got in there at BC with it.
Oh, that's a classic find.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I still have my discs, but I don't have the box, unfortunately.
There's like 4 or 6 discs, or is it 8?
There's a lot.
I never had the discs for like BC because when I came back to Canada, we were all on download. I found my old like Classic account, so I have the account that I've ever played vanilla. I had to find that password because I wasn't using Password Manager at the time, so I was like. Thankfully, I was able to using the same email. I recovered it, and then I put all.
It's just 2 discs. By BC, they had it down to 2 discs, and then you downloaded the rest.
Okay, nice.
So there was one for the original with the key, and one for Burning Crusade.
That's awesome.
They're all still in here with the big booklets they used to give with all the information.
I wonder if that was still peer-to-peer.
It was, I don't know, it was a while ago because I had to create a username just for WoW, and then one day they're like, oh, you can create a Battle.net account. You don't have to log in that way anymore.
Yeah, when I got my new accounts for the Refer a Friend, WoW 7, WoW 8, I mean, because like my original username is still there. What's amazing about the Classic is they're going to roll it out so that they're looking at all the content. Like I even saw that they're going to keep in some of the quirky bugs. They're going to do a lot of different things. So it's going to be an amazing time capsule. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with Sil. The issue with Encourage was that we were using code and computers and internet that was bad. I mean, just like it was at the time with the great stuff, but it had its issues. Nowadays, they've learned so much about netcode, so much about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're going to start Classic, find all the issues with Classic in its infrastructure. By the time that Encourage rolls out, we may actually get to experience Encourage and not be a PowerPoint slideshow.
Oh, man. Well, I remember going into Ironforge and it being a PowerPoint slideshow and ending up in that ditch by the auction house.
Yes.
I was like, I can't get Hearth. Get me out of here.
I can't talk about like too many times nowadays where like things will seem to like stutter. I mean, I used to have that a lot, but not as much anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the one thing that the beta testers are saying is how silky smooth it is.
That's nice.
So a lot of the people are saying like just how your character moves and how the combat flows, everything's just going just like butter. It's beautiful.
That's one thing that we didn't get in Classic, but I'm not somebody that says that we need. I'm glad that Classic is going to be good. I'm glad that because it's not the tech of it that people are wanting. It's the gameplay.
Right. Well, it's going back to, I mean, they've changed the game so much that an old player coming in now will be like, what is this? This is not how it was. I have no recollection of this being a thing, and now it's a thing. Just adjusting to that would be tough especially when you're expecting to come into something similar to what you have. Like, you have the same areas, but it's not. They even streamlined the questing. They streamlined the leveling. Like, the early levels don't even mean anything anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's part of the core of the game. I mean, that's why it's coming back, I think. It's because people want to experience that again. And yes, it's slow, but you know what? Talent trees were fun. I enjoyed them. Bring them back. Let's do it.
Because like one of the things I've always heard about MMOs is you don't get to experience that time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
If this works, this could be a really cool time capsule of WoW at a time. And they've even been saying in some different interviews that if Classic is successful, we might see more expansion, because they said they were surprised at some of the stuff that they've been able to do because they were calling it turn WoW into a stack, turned it into a easily modifiable. I even heard rumors that Overwatch or StarCraft could actually get an MMO using WoW technology. Again, that's a lot of this is still speculation, but it's developers saying that they've actually created something that they didn't even realize that they were going to create. They wanted to get Classic running, but they think it's even more than that. They just got to see the ROI, and I'm with them. It has to be shown that there's more than just people wanting Classic. It has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them doing something with this. I can't remember what all the terms they use, but with the overlays they're able to do and breaking the servers up. I mean, I could see a point maybe not in the next year or two, but a few years down the road, if they're still going at it and people are still wanting it, you get an option where your first character you start in Classic. You get to the end of Classic. Would you like to continue to Burning Crusade? Yes or no? And you could actually then phase your character to the next one, and you get to experience that all over again, where suddenly, oh my gosh, where'd my talent tree go? Why don't I have to use training dummies anymore? And actually, because that was my big thing, is I missed Classic, but they changed a lot. Burning Crusade was an upgrade without changing a whole lot, and then all of a sudden Wrath came around, and I logged back in, and it's like, okay, this is different. Then I come back again for the next one, and it's like they changed everything, and I was lost for like a week trying to retrain myself. I created new characters because it was easier to start a new paladin and level to relearn how to play the paladin because they changed all my skills while I was gone.
Right.
It took me like at least, I felt like 5 months before I finally felt like when I returned in Legion that I knew the game. Because I every day was learning something new, and I played a lot of vanilla, but it was that huge change. And I like that phasing idea. It would be cool that you can choose if you want to stay in whatever version of WoW that you want to go, and you could bring it up to the main game.
That would be awesome. Like, I've actually had conversations with friends saying, wouldn't that be cool if we could do this? That would be so awesome. Here's my wallet, Blizzard. Do it.
Yeah. The one I don't see, and I'm just going to say it because I'm being logical. I've heard people say, wouldn't it be great in Classic is if the content continues on and like we have like an alternate timeline? And I'm like, I don't see that happening. There's too many resources and stuff to develop its own content. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, hey, I think it's great. But I want people to be realistic with what we're looking at.
Right. Well, and I don't know if we really need an alternative timeline. Like, if they kept kind of the core together, maybe they try going through, what was it, Mist when the talent trees changed? Maybe keep it through that and see what happens. I don't know. Probably won't happen, but I don't know if I think the story's cool. Like, I still play the game because I enjoy the story. It's part of why I play. But I think some of those little details, I think that's why people are so upset with Battle for Azeroth. And I think that will be kind of evident once Classic comes out. Like, hey, yes, it sucked running out of arrows, but it was fun to actually go to a town and get ready for your adventure. And then you go do it.
Yeah.
And you meet people and you go see crazy things and do cool stuff. Or, hey, I have to go talk to a master of my class. I don't just learn how to do something I've never seen before. It kind of takes the believability out of it, in my opinion, at least for me anyway.
Yeah. Because like I know weapon skills were awful, but I was playing Skyrim recently, and actually I enjoyed you pull out a sword that you never used before and you have to learn to get good at it. I'm like, okay, that actually is kind of cool that you get better at it the more you do it.
It just adds more things to get invested in. And Skyrim is cool because you start learning, and then once you get good, you start chopping people in half.
Yes.
So it's like, I mean, you feel your power growing as you go. So the numbers get bigger in WoW. And I think it's that linear upgrade over time that is missing. I think that's what's going on right now. It's kind of killing it.
Yeah, I think bringing it back, there's going to be some things people are going to go back and not remember, but I just pulled up. So my old main that I now have up to 119, my legacy global achievements start with Charger, where you complete the Paladin quest to get the Charger. Back in 4/15, 2009, dual talent spec. First rule of Brawlers Guild when it first came out. And then I've got all these others where, now they even took away bandages and all of my characters were maxed out. Because I remember one of the most difficult ones was to get, you had to go to Arathi Highlands and run around and dodge patrols and raptors and everything else. So you could go to the little tiny outpost over there because that's where the new medic was for the next level of bandages. I was doing it to do it because this character was a paladin. Obviously, I can heal myself. But even back then, there were times where I just healed myself. I'm still not done healing. I need a bandage to finish it off because mana doesn't regenerate as fast because this was, Wrath or something instead.
Right. Well, and I think that was in Stromgarde, I believe.
Yes.
And those were all elites. Getting in there was a lovely adventure.
I had to dodge. I was max, and it was a blood elf paladin, so I was able to sneak around a little bit. But if you went to the wrong spot, either you accidentally fell into where the Alliance camp is while you're trying to find it, and I got lost and chased by things, and because that's what I played at the time, and so I just to find it just so I could get the bandage thing. And then I see they took it away. I'm like, well, that's not very much fun, except now I'm like, hey, I have those legacy things on my there where I've got the skills on here, where I did ultimate triage back with heavy frostweave bandages back when Wrath was new. It's hilarious.
Nice. Yeah.
And some of those are going to be fun to relive. Some of them, maybe not so much, but most of them are going to be this kind of, like you said, we actually have to go learn skills. We have to actually use the training dummies because most people who've not played, they're like, what's with the training dummies? These are kind of fun to hit sometimes. It's like, you don't understand. We had to have training dummies that you went and ran around and found level 1 through 5s to beat over the head with a stick. And you sat there, they couldn't hit you and you couldn't hit them for about 2 minutes. And so I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. I never got to do the full classic, so I'm kind of looking forward to trying that.
And what I've been hearing too is that the devs who are working on classic have learned some of the things that we like. So there's a possibility that, I don't know what the term is because it feels weird to call it modern WoW retail, but that they're going to bring it into the current storyline, and they may actually bring some stuff back to where it was in classic, depending on how the community likes it.
Right. And when I talk to my friends, so my guild's kind of split. So I have some youngins in there. I have some old guys like me. Half of us want the original experience. The other half are like, but I like this not taking time thing. For me, it's like in the arguments I get too, people are like, well, you are all classic or you're not all classic. But it's like, if we bring in some of those elements, those little RP elements, where a class trainer would be great. I thought the class order halls in Legion was super cool. That was fun. We got the weapons. We got the old-ish trees back. That just felt good. So I hope we can do something like that again.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly, but pieces of it come back. Don't bring the whole thing if you don't want to, but just give some of it back so we can get some of that realism back. Some of the believability.
Yeah, bring back a little bit of the RPG aspect of it.
Yeah.
Though there is a way they're going to bring that back for the 15th anniversary. It's weird how soon this is for us, but for the 15th anniversary, they are going to be bringing back classic encounters. When I understand that it's going to be and not a new raid, but kind of some of the best bosses of WoW's history. You're going to go through these different ones. It's going to culminate in a 25-player raid accessible through Raid Finder. Through that, you will actually get Deathwing has a mount.
Do you presume that I am at your beck and call?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And just for logging in, you will get Lil Nefarian. But if you do all this stuff and relive some of WoW's history, you will get Deathwing. And both of these are for the main games. They're not going to go to Classic. Just wanted to make sure that people didn't know that too.
Yeah. No, that's going to be cool. I like it when they do that stuff. I liked it when they did Molten Core. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the Black Temple. I tried to pug it. That was awful.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that one. Just we would pull one mob and we tried to cheese at times and we'd wipe. So we actually got to use mechanics.
You are not prepared.
I missed the Molten Core event, so I'm definitely going to make sure that I don't miss this event.
Yeah, for sure. This is a must do for me as well.
And for the 15th anniversary, I mean, how cool is that we're going to get to relive some classic raids? And like one thing I realized with the classic and our idea of the possible classic progression, when Allie's been doing Dungeon Fables, I'm hearing about these mobs. I'm like, I don't hear these voice lines because when we went for a Transmog run, we kill them before we get to hear all these voice lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun to be able to hear some of these raids that we have not been able to play in a long time. I mean, the excitement of that time capsule, that excites me a lot.
Well, I mean, this game is so rich in lore, and like Allie's show's great. Like she makes me want to go back and try them all. Like just go re-roll tunes and go try all the dungeons at level.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember Convert to Raid has or had, I don't know if they still do, but it was called iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
They would actually be at eye level for each raid. So like they've been ICC, you could only have the gear of that. You would raid ICC. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to do that so bad. I just didn't have time at the time, unfortunately.
Same. I didn't have the time or the determination to do it, to use a LFR term.
Yeah.
And then for the 15th anniversary, we're getting a collector's edition, which is really surprising. There's no game with it, but there are 2 mounts. The 2 mounts are going to be stone mounts. It'll be a Storm Talon and a Thunderwing. These mounts also will not go to Classic. Though, cool thing about Classic, if you had that WoW collector's edition, which I am envious of people who did, because when I got WoW originally, I did not want to look the gift horse in the mouth, my awesome parent, to say, hey, can you upgrade that that regular box to a CE? I didn't want to do that. But if you had the collector's edition of WoW, your pets will appear in WoW Classic. There will be no new codes being made, but anyone who already has that code will get those pets. So
that's cool.
Really cool thing that they're doing there. But yeah, with this CE, we're going to get these mounts. We're also going to get a Ragnaros statue and a Nixia pen, a Math of Azeroth mousepad, fine art prints, and 30 days of game time. So this is $100. Where I'm a little disappointed in Blizzard, because I was at home, I was able to buy it when it just came out. They're out of stock almost everywhere. I'm like, Blizzard, I know you've had issues with stock of other collections. This is the 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
You have people that are excited for it because of the 15th anniversary, all the stuff in it. You people are excited about it because of the classic, and you run out of inventory. I mean, the mounts, those are going to be in the cash shop in August. So if you missed the collector's edition, you can get them out. And a cool thing they're going to do, just like the last collector's edition for BFA, if you buy the mounts in the store in August and you redeem your key for the collector's edition that when it ships in October, they'll refund you $25.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to do this because then I can get them out sooner, and then I can get the $25 and Blizzard balance that I can then use towards something.
Yeah.
I think I used my Blizzard balance from the last CE to buy the virtual ticket. So I'll just use half of it to buy the virtual ticket. But yeah, I mean, this collector's edition looks really cool. What do you think?
Oh, it looks great. I was super sad it sold out almost immediately because we're hanging pictures at my house, and I got a bunch of Zelda pictures and all kinds of fun stuff. And it's like, I want to add those to my wall. And unfortunately, I was too slow.
I mean, it sold out. It felt like within minutes. I mean, that's like the surprising thing. And this is not BlizzCon tickets. I mean, I get that it's physical merchandise, but it's the 15th anniversary. I mean, people are like, hey Blizzard, can we give you your money? No.
Well, I hope it's like a test ground to see how excited people really are for kind of that classic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, are we really that excited? Or is this kind of like a, hey, give us the thing because we want it? But I mean, from everyone I've talked to around me in real life, they're all pumped. I know about 20 people who are super excited for Classic to come back. So I think this is a deeper thing, like a bigger thing than what some of the naysayers I've heard I've been trying to shoot down. I think they're wrong. And ultimately, WoW wins anyway. So let's say we get someone who comes back to Classic. Hey, I want to try the new stuff. I'm going to come and join. There's another person that can join the party. So, and it goes both ways. And I don't know why people are fighting about it.
We're not really taking away. I mean, I could possibly see taking away development time, but in all the interviews for Classic, they said we're not taking away people from development for Classic. I mean, some of the top are probably overseeing both because the top developers.
Sure.
But they hired a team for it. Everyone who comes back for Classic will be paying $15 a month. So revenue is going to go up for Blizzard. I mean, it can only be a positive.
Yeah. And if they're not moving resources to do it, why not? I don't want WoW to go away anytime soon. And
No.
I think this is a great way to do it. And I think like Nostalrius was one of those things that just kind of showed what people want. I mean, how many people have played this game over its life cycle? We're in the really high millions. We're not even, just scratching the surface of a million. We're talking what? It was 12 million at its peak?
I think so, yeah. Especially during Wrath.
I mean, could we guesstimate that maybe 50 million people have played this game at some point in time? So that's a lot of people. If we can get some of that share back, we can start filling the pool back up and getting people back in it, which is exciting.
Yeah, people want Classic because of the gameplay. So I'm like, hey, they're going elsewhere. They're going to private servers. So I'm like, there's only a win. The fact that also the thing about private servers, past the fact that they're legal and Blizzard's not condoning them, you put all that time and money into a server. If it goes away because either the team has no funding or something, you lose all that stuff. Here, people can put all the time and money into Classic, and their stuff's not going to go away, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's amazing. I can't wait to see it. Like, I'm super stoked to get in. Part of me wants the beta, but the other half's like, I want to see it live.
Me too.
Try to relive it. I know it's not going to be exactly the same, but try to have a new experience. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I think with that, wow, it's always amazing how fast time flies. It's you get in, and then like we talk, and like tonight we had a lot of great talks. So thank you both for joining me on FrazlCast. I found it was a classic time. So where can we find you on the interwebs? We'll start with Cy.
So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Cyrub_KOC. That's CYRUB_KOC. You can email me if you hear my show and you want to talk or say I'm doing a good job, whatever. It's scrubsversetheworld@gmail.com. And then with baseball being my life right now, my Twitch channel is suffering horribly, but eventually I'm trying to get that up and going. Probably June, July-ish, I'll be able to actually have a more regular schedule. So I'm trying to get to that 50 follower mark, but it's kind of hard to get them when you don't stream. So I get that.
Yeah, it took me a long time until I think doing this podcast helped me get up to that thing. And it takes a while. I mean, like, affiliate's not a easy thing to get to, but I'm proof that anybody can become affiliate. So you just gotta.
Well, and I have big plans for my podcast too. So I'd like to get Twitch involved and kind of integrate that into my format and start adding to the content. Because, I mean, the premise of my show is to have the conversation between two people where one person has, I do this thing. This is how I do it. This is how I approach it. And just try to gain insight from that. So in the interviews I've done, I've learned so much stuff. Like, I looked up the shoe shine guy. I don't want to get up early enough to do it, but we talked about that on my show, and just some of the extra things, that WoW offers. I've dipped my toe in and tried to go do some of those things. And, I have a friend who I did for my episode 3. He's a Mythic Raider. So he shared some of the add-on kind of advice for us and gave us, I'm trying to get my raid team to start integrating these add-ons so we can be better.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. It's been awesome. So I'm hoping to, maybe get on Twitch and show that at some point.
I have to say add-ons have been great. Like, I met the person who did dual response, and now every tune I go on has dual response. That way I don't get any duels. Yes. every tune now, that's my first add-on. I've actually got a thing when I do my irons. Here are the add-ons. I'm only doing very few add-ons, but immersion, because I love the quest text version there, and dual response. That way, no duels.
Nice.
And the shoe sign, I remember doing that one. Oh, setting my alarm for that time for it. Like, I'm like, the alarm goes off. Why? Oh, that toy.
What am I doing? Yeah.
Yes. What am I doing with my life that I'm getting up for a toy for a digital game? and Matt, where can we find you?
Well, I'm not much on to be found that well, but you're welcome to find me in game. My main alliance is on lane is Alphadar, Human Paladin, and my main horde is a Blood Elf Paladin that's Ace of Diamond on Nazgrel.
Nice.
And I bet you'll find all of us on Classic at some point. I did hear they're going to have new realm names, so it'll be interesting to see. Like, I can't go back to Storm Rage, which is going to feel really weird. Storm Rage is it was my realm that I was on in vanilla, and it's, but hopefully there's a gnome one. If there's a gnome one, I might join that one.
Oh, there you go.
Definitely not a PvP realm.
You better hurry. They'll be short on space.
Yeah.
I think with that, I'm going to head back to Ironforge, but I'm going to try not to fall into the Great Forge. I've not fallen in for a long time, but you never know. I might auto run the wrong way or go into a wall.
And that's how the next one goes.
Not falling in for a long time, but falling in for a good time.
Activating customized corpus transporter.
Well, I'm back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Nomergon.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So the Con Before the Storm launched their Kickstarter last weekend, and they are partnering with Wowhead. This is the pre-BlizzCon event where you meet with streamers, podcasters, and others in the community. As of this recording, it is at $33,000 raised!
Hooray!
So they added the ability for backers below the art lover tier to get access to Wave 2 of selecting a piece of art from the gallery. And you must be in attendance to pick this up. I'm above that tier, but I'm not going to be able to get this art, so pick something out really cool and know that if you're picking up art, that you're picking up my art. So just enjoy it and be like, hey, let me know what art you pick up. Every backer of the $35 tier and above will get a free bonus enamel pin of a dwarf riding the Wowhead rocket, which is so cool. All the stuff about the event sounds amazing. The World of Podcast details are still to come, so I'm hoping that Pod Before the Con happens, and I'm also hoping that I get to take part in it. I really enjoyed having the honor to be part of the Warcraft Pod Before the Con panel from last year, so I'm kind of saying, if any of you are listening from the team, please, I want to come back. I had so much fun. This event is shaping up to be an awesome one. Definitely go out and help support Con Before the Storm. The third stretch goal is going to be decided on, and the Kickstarter is going until June 15th. And by the way, DishCon is still being worked on. I saw some tweets from Belle that it will be kick-ass, just like their past events. Belle puts her heart and soul into these events, so BlizzCon, like every year, will be a fun moment of community from all the parties that are happening. And don't forget that Recruiter Friend is going on hiatus on June 11th. Now is the time to get your friends into WoW. You can get extra game time, so you'll be ready for a classic. You don't have to worry about your sub. You get rewards. These will be for the modern WoW, as these rewards will not go to classic. But hey, rewards and game time, what's better than that? And Wowhead's Artist Corner Spotlight this year is Zach Fisher. They do concept art for cosplayers, portrait art, and they also did concept art for Heroes of the Storm recently. So go check out Zach's work. It is incredible. And while you're at Wowhead checking out the art of Zach, maybe you want to do some freelance writing for them for WoW Classic. They're looking for talented writers to join their crew. Details on how to apply are at the link in the show notes. Well, this has been a classic episode of FrazlCast, literally, and I have to use up this pun. So right after we finished recording, Sai got into the classic beta. Is either coincidence or Blizzard was listening to the live show. Sai received an email right after the recording stopped. They posted this on Twitter after the show. Just watched my wife play the classic beta for a good hour. Brought back some wonderful memories of that first apartment we lived in when we were 18. Blizzard Entertainment, thank you for making this happen. And another tweet that was out there was that Gin of Morally Grey Podcast, who will be on episode 109 of this show, shared a Penny Arcade comic about loot boxes. They were reading this while they were listening to 106 of FrazzleCast, and it was amazing how it fit in with all that discussion. And if you want more classic discussion, I was honored to be on Whispers of War 37 with Syl. We talked about WoW Classic at length. I've got a link in the show notes. And I also want to welcome Syl to Dragon Powered Studio, the network that FrazzleCast is honored to be a part of. In every show, I like to take a time to thank all my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Michael of the Blue Recluse and Nerd This Podcast. Thank you to Naughty Grandpa. Thank you to Razurus. Thank you to Smashosaurus. Thank you to Speaker for Dead. Thank you to Thornbrow of Lagging Balls and BNN. And also Friday Nights with Thorn at This, who just recently celebrated 69. Thank you to Zortz the Goblin. And thank you to Nihar. And thank you to Dazzledorn, the Scruffy Druid, Razurus, and Velasella for the bits. If you want to support the show with a Twitch sub, go to support.gnomepodcast.com. And also, you can buy a shirt at gnomeshirt.com. These look really cool. And again, I'm biased, so I love having a shirt of the FrazzleCast. But all of these bits, subs, and shirts got to help supporting this labor of love. Well, time for me to sign off yet again. Always feels like the time is too short. But soon enough, I'll be back. So I am Frazzly, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. So until next week, be awesome.
False advertising campaign backfires on horde invaders. It's the Overly Dramatic News. I'm Hunts the Wind. Storm Song Valley in the north of Kultiris is a lovely landscape of farms, hills, and streams. But for the vanguard of horde charged with establishing a foothold here, the distances from their few flight points to world quest areas has proved troublesome. Those looking to quest along the southwest coast did get some help, however, when a large Etten named Donk was convinced to provide transportation services from Stone Tusk Squatch to the coast, passing through the pleasant village called Millstone Hamlet. All that changed recently, however, when Donk suddenly refused to go anywhere near the hamlet. When questioned, he wailed that the windmills there would give him cancer, and he was more afraid of that than he was of the horde. Where did the Etten get this strange idea? It turns out that the Venture Company has been spreading this rumor in a whispering campaign in an attempt to increase demand for the crude oil found in the area by suppressing support for renewable energy. I can't say I'm surprised. It wouldn't be the first time that goblin greed has interfered with horde strategy. Overall, however, the campaign has been a failure, since to actually believe that windmills can cause disease in passers-by, you'd have to be as dumb as an Etten. Broadcasting across all Azeroth, I'm Hunts the Wind. Check out the archives at overlydramaticnews.com or follow me on Twitter at Hunts the Wind.
Welcome to the Frazzle Report, a short broadcast by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the World of Warcraft. So the Swift Zevra, Cinderbane Chargers, Golden Pigs, and more are in danger this week, as Recruiter Friend is going on hiatus on June 11, 2019. There are no details on when it will return, if the pets in it will return, or if new items will take their place. This gnome may have to find new friends to recruit if new rewards are added. I just gotta catch them all. The Hot Air Balloon Festival happened this past weekend. The event had some trouble getting off the ground, though, as some pranksters in High Mountain decided to cut holes into the balloons, and then they posted the reactions on Instagram. The juveniles might have been high on something, but they are now low in the depths of Orgrimmar. Sylvanas has them locked up in her jail cells, the same place where members of the Horde and the Alliance went into for Siege of Orgrimmar. They've just been retrofitted to be nice, spacious cells. They're even complete with game consoles. Except they're Xbox 360s, and these have been red ringing occasionally, which is one of the cruelest things you can do to prisoners. Curse you, Sylvanas! Wave 2 of BlizzCon tickets went on sale last Wednesday. Tickets to BlizzCon this year are being sold through AXS, which allows for reselling. This has brought BlizzCon into the same news along with Nickelodeon's JoJo Siwa. JoJo was the fad of the YouTube celebrities talking about the expensive reselling of tickets. An article on Wildhead shows a BlizzCon ticket being sold for $2,000 and then one for $20,000. All of this money does not go back to Blizzard, though, except for the base cost of the ticket. The rest goes to the seller after the fees. Hey, if people are willing to spend that, I am opening up studio tickets to tapings of this broadcast for $45,000 a ticket. I will generously throw in airfare, and I will drive you around town. And if you act fast, I've got a buy one, get one free deal for couples. You get to hang out with me. Go on walks, get a selfie, play games together. I'll even pay for your coffee. Send me a DM, email me, or give me a call at 1-440-536-3711 if you're interested in these tickets. But if that's too expensive for you, Cook and Becker will be producing officially licensed art prints of World of Warcraft artwork. These look gorgeous. The reports are that they will cost upwards of $100, a lot less than resold BlizzCon tickets and then the tickets to the Frazzle Report. And finally, on the subject of money, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has introduced a bill to ban loot boxes and pay-to-win microtransactions on games aimed at minors. Now, I wonder why people who dig for diamonds need to worry about paying for in-game items. But besides that, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. I, for one, would be thrilled if loot boxes go away. Let me see exactly what I'm buying, because I own every bit of items in the BlizzCon store. I even own that ESO $40 mount. Oh, the shinies, they get to me. Well, with that, we have come to the end of this broadcast. Until next time, be awesome. Oh, someone's calling. I wonder if they're calling for a ticket. Hello? No, I don't want to switch my internet provider. FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio.
Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.
Frazzle dazzle pudding pie. Met some spiders, then he died. A